If you don't want to miss heaven, listen carefully. My beloved child, I come to you with arms wide open, offering you both salvation and forgiveness. I know your deepest longings and your greatest regrets. I have seen your struggles and your pain, but do not despair. For I am the resurrection and the life. I have come to bring you new life. To set you free from the chains of sin and guilt. By my grace I offer you forgiveness for every wrong you have committed. Lay down your burdens at the foot of the cross, and I will take them upon myself. I have conquered sin and death, and through me you can find salvation. Trust in me, and I will write your name in the book of life. Walk with me, and I will lead you to everlasting joy in my Father's presence. There are moments in life when everything feels like it's standing still. Days blend into nights, and prayers seem to echo into silence. You've done your best. You've given, sown, waited, cried, believed, fasted, and held on while the world around you kept moving. You've smiled through storms and walked through fires with no explanation for the pain, only the unshakable whisper in your spirit, God has not forgotten you. And now, heaven is leaning in. God is not distant from your tears. He's not ignoring your struggle. He's been preparing something behind the scenes that your eyes haven't seen, your ears haven't heard, and your heart hasn't yet imagined. You may feel like you've been buried, but in truth, you've been planted. And what's coming is going to make the pain make sense. God is about to shift everything in your favor. This is not just another motivational statement. It's a prophetic declaration over your life. What looked like the end is about to become the beginning. The very things the enemy meant to break you are about to bless you. The nights you wept alone are about to become testimonies of joy. Your name is being mentioned in rooms you've never walked into. Heaven's spotlight is turning in your direction. Doors that were shut are about to swing open. Relationships that drained you are being replaced with divine alignments. And the things you lost? God is about to restore them with interest. You didn't come this far just to break down, you're about to break through. In the chapters ahead, you will discover that delay is not denial, that brokenness is not the end of your story, and that favor has a sound. It's the sound of God saying, I'm shifting things in your favor. So hold on. Don't count yourself out. This is the moment where the impossible meets the God who makes all things possible. And this is just the beginning. When nothing makes sense, God is still in control. There are times in life when everything seems upside down. You try to live right, walk faithfully, and believe with all your heart, yet it feels like nothing is working in your favor. The more you pray, the more silent heaven becomes. The more you give, the more you lose. The more you trust, the more things seem to fall apart. Have you ever found yourself in a season where life didn't match the promises God made to you? Maybe you're in that season right now. You don't talk about it, but you feel it. You smile on the outside, but inside you're silently battling doubts, fears, and questions. God, did you forget me? Why does everyone seem to be moving forward but me? When will it be my turn? These are not signs of weak faith. These are the cries of a soul still holding on to God, even when things don't make sense. Let me assure you of one truth. God is still in control, even in the chaos. The delay is not a denial. One of the most painful seasons in a believer's life is the waiting season. It's where patience is tested, faith is stretched, and trust is refined. You watch others receive answers while you're still sitting in silence. But here's what you must never forget. Just because it hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it won't. God's delays are not denials. They are often preparation. He knows what He placed inside of you. He knows what you've been praying for. He also knows what you'll need to handle what's coming. So while you're waiting, He's working. He's developing the strength you'll need, removing the wrong people from your life, and arranging situations in your favor. The vision is yet for an appointed time. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not delay. Habakkuk 2 verse 3. God's timing is never late, it's always perfect. You may feel like you're being overlooked, but what's actually happening is that you're being reserved for something greater. He's closer than you think. Sometimes God hides His hand so you can trust His heart. He steps back, not to abandon you, but to build in you a deeper trust that doesn't rely on circumstances or feelings. Even when you don't see it, He's working behind the curtain of your life. While you're struggling with confusion, He's orchestrating a shift. While you're crying in secret, He's planning a public turnaround. God is not absent. He's involved in the smallest details. Remember Job? He lost everything, his family, his wealth, his health, and still he said, "Though he slay me, yet will I trust him." Job 13 verse 15. That kind of faith doesn't come from comfort. It's born in the fire. It's forged through unanswered questions and sleepless nights. But it's also the kind of faith God rewards. Because while Job didn't understand the why, he still trusted the who. You don't have to know what God is doing to believe He's doing something beautiful. He's setting the stage for a divine shift. There's something powerful that happens when your life reaches its breaking point. It's often the moment before breakthrough. It's where God does His best work, when you've run out of options, run out of answers, and you're just holding on by a thread. You see, God is not intimidated by brokenness. In fact, He specializes in it. He heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds. Psalm 147 verse 3. If it feels like you're being crushed, understand this: God is creating oil from your life. The pressure you're under is producing something holy, something costly, something eternal. Don't despise your season of crushing. Embrace it. Because the same place where you've been bruised will become the place where you shine. That's why everything seems hard right now. That's why you've faced so many spiritual attacks. That's why people walked away. Because the enemy knows something is coming. And God is allowing the shaking, not to destroy you, but to shift you. To shift your thinking. To shift your position. To shift your story. You are not forgotten. God has not skipped over your house. Your name is still on His lips. Your cries have not gone unheard. Can a woman forget her nursing child? Surely they may forget, yet I will not forget you. See, I have inscribed you on the palms of my hands. Isaiah 49 verses 15 to 16. You are carved into the hands that were nailed to a cross for you. How can He forget you? He's about to do something so significant in your life that everyone who doubted you will see it. Not to make them jealous, but to glorify His name. The tears you've cried, the seeds you've sown, the faith you've held onto through heartbreak, it's all coming together for this moment. God is about to shift everything in your favor. So if you're in a place where nothing makes sense, remember this. The chaos is a clue that change is near. The silence is a setup for the shout. And the pain is often the pathway to purpose. The breaking point is the birthing place. There comes a time in every believer's life when you feel like you're at your absolute limit. You're mentally drained, emotionally exhausted, spiritually dry, and physically overwhelmed. You pray, but the heavens feel closed. You press forward, but nothing seems to move. You're holding on, but barely. This, my friend, is the breaking point. But here's what most people don't realize. The breaking point is also the birthing place. It's not the end of your story, it's the threshold of something new. The place where old things break apart is also where new things are born. Your pain is not random. It's prophetic. God often births the greatest things in the darkest places. Think about it. Before a baby is born, there is labor. Before the resurrection, there was the cross. Before the miracle, there was the storm. Before the breakthrough, there is often the breakdown. The pattern of God is clear. He uses pain to produce promise. Joseph had a dream from God, but before he saw the palace, he had to go through the pit and the prison. What looked like a setback was actually a setup. And what was meant for evil, God turned it all for His good. But as for you, you meant evil against me, but God meant it for good. Genesis 50 verse 20. Don't let the pit fool you, it's only temporary. The enemy always tries to stop what he sees is about to be born. That's why your life feels like it's been under attack. That's why the pressure increased. That's why people you love turn their backs on you. Because the enemy is terrified of the shift God is about to bring into your life. But here's the truth. The pressure is proof that something is being pushed into the world. Something new. Something powerful. Something that will shake darkness and bring glory to God. The place of pain is the place of preparation. Sometimes we beg God to remove us from the fire, but it's in the fire that we're refined. It's in the struggle that we're shaped. The most anointed vessels don't come from comfort. They come from crushing. David was anointed king while he was still in the fields. He was chosen while he was hidden. He faced giants when no one else would. But before he ever sat on the throne, he faced betrayal, fear, and rejection. Your battles are not signs that you're forsaken. They're signs that you're being formed. You're not going through this because you're weak. You're going through this because you're chosen. Many are the afflictions of the righteous, but the Lord delivers him out of them all. Psalm 34 verse 19. Yes, it hurts. Yes, it's heavy. But it's also holy. Because in your breaking, God is doing something no eye has seen, no ear has heard, and no heart has imagined. Birthing requires pushing. No mother gives birth in silence. There is pain. There is pushing. There is pressure. But there is also purpose. And when it's time to push, the one thing a mother cannot do is quit. This is not the time to give up. This is not the season to back down. The enemy wants you to believe that it's over, but God says, you're just beginning. Before she was in labor, she gave birth. Before her pain came, she delivered a male child. Who has heard such a thing? Isaiah 66 verses 7 to 8. God is about to do something so quick, so supernatural, so unexpected, it will seem like it happened without warning. What took others years, God is about to release to you in moments. But you've got to keep pushing. Push in prayer. Push in praise. Push in perseverance. Push in faith. Because on the other side of your push is your promise. You're closer than you think. The enemy attacks the hardest when you're closest to breakthrough. He knows he can't stop God's plan, so he tries to stop you from believing in it. He'll whisper lies. He'll stir fear. He'll bring delays and distractions. But don't fall for it. You are closer than you think. You didn't survive everything just to stop here. God didn't bring you through the fire for nothing. The same God who carried you through the storm will carry you into your next season. He's not done with you. He's just getting started. Every tear you've cried is watering the harvest you're about to walk into. Every battle you've fought is leading to a breakthrough that will silence the mouths of every doubter. Every season you've endured has been preparing you for this moment. The shift is coming. The favor is near. And the birthing pains are about to give way to joy. Weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. Psalm 30 verse 5. So lift your head. Take a deep breath. You're not breaking down, you're birthing destiny. And God is about to shift everything in your favor. When God steps into the middle. Some of the greatest transformations in life don't happen when everything is perfect. They happen when everything is falling apart. There are situations that seem too far gone. A family shattered by betrayal. A dream buried by time. A heart broken beyond repair. A life surrounded by storms, confusion, and unanswered prayers. But here's what changes everything. When God steps into the middle. The enemy loves to whisper, it's too late. Things can't change. You'll never recover. But he always forgets one thing. God has the power to interrupt anything at any time. The middle is where miracles happen. It was in the middle of the Red Sea that God made a way. In the middle of the fiery furnace, he walked with Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. In the middle of the night, Paul and Silas sang and prison doors flung open. In the middle of the storm, Jesus calmed the wind with a word. God doesn't need perfect timing. He doesn't wait until things are calm or convenient. He shows up in the middle, in the mess, in the chaos, in the impossible, and he changes everything. Then the Lord said to Moses, "Why are you crying out to me? Tell the Israelites to move on. Raise your staff, and divide the water so that the Israelites can go through the sea on dry ground." Exodus 14 verses 15 to 16. They didn't see the way forward until they were trapped. But God never intended for them to drown, He intended for them to walk through. And the place where they thought they would die became the very place God displayed His glory. God doesn't avoid the middle, He enters it. People may walk away when things get messy. Friends may disappear when storms hit. But not God. God runs toward the mess. He's not afraid of your questions. He's not distant because of your doubts. He doesn't flinch at your failures. Instead, He steps in. He draws near. He wraps His presence around your broken pieces and says, "Let me carry this with you." The Lord is near to those who have a broken heart, and saves such as have a contrite spirit. Psalm 34 verse 18. When others don't understand, God still cares. When others judge, God shows mercy. When others walk away, God says, "I'm right here in the middle of it." He's the fourth man in the fire. He's the whisper in the cave. He's the hand that lifts you out of the pit. Nothing stays the same when God steps in. The moment God steps in, the natural is overridden by the supernatural. Time no longer controls the outcome. Logic no longer limits the breakthrough. One moment of divine intervention changes everything. God doesn't need a crowd. He doesn't need favorable odds. He only needs one opening, one surrendered heart, to move mountains. Is anything too hard for the Lord? Genesis 18 verse 14. Ask Sarah, who laughed when told she'd carry a child in her old age. Ask Lazarus, who was dead and buried for 4 days. Ask the woman with the issue of blood, who suffered for 12 years but was healed in a moment. God is not limited by time, space, or situation. He is the God of sudden shifts, and when He enters your situation, impossibility must bow. When God is in the middle, the outcome changes. Have you ever looked at your life and wondered, how is this going to work out? You can't see the ending. You're stuck in the middle. But the good news is, you're not in the middle by yourself. God is there. Not just watching, but working. Behind the scenes. Within the silence. Inside the waiting. He's arranging things. Shifting hearts. Opening doors. Closing the ones that will hurt you. He's not just preparing the blessing, He's preparing you. The middle isn't meant to destroy you. It's meant to develop you. Being confident of this very thing, that He who has begun a good work in you will complete it. Philippians 1 verse 6. He doesn't start what He won't finish. And if you're still in the middle, that only means He's still writing the story. Don't give up now. Don't make permanent decisions based on temporary pain. Don't believe the lie that says you're stuck. Don't let the fear of the unknown cancel your faith. Because God is about to step into the middle of your situation. And when He does, what seemed final will flip in your favor. The winds are shifting. Have you ever stepped outside and felt the breeze change direction? The sky starts to darken. The air smells different. The wind picks up. You can't see the storm yet, but you know it's coming. That's how divine shifts often begin. Before the breakthrough comes, the atmosphere starts to change. Before the door opens, you feel the wind of movement. Before the blessing arrives, your spirit senses a stirring. You may not know exactly what God is doing, but you can feel something is shifting. And it's not just around you, it's within you. A spiritual shift always precedes a physical one. God moves in the spiritual realm before it ever shows up in the natural. That means your faith must often rise before your eyes ever see a change. Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Hebrews 11 verse 1. When the winds of God begin to blow, you may not immediately see open doors or answered prayers, but you'll notice a stirring in your heart, a fresh hunger for God's presence, an urgency to let go of old habits, relationships, or mindsets, a discomfort with where you've been. These are all signs that something is coming, that heaven is moving, that the Spirit of God is shifting the season over your life. The shift often feels like shaking. Before God shifts you, He often shakes you. Not to destroy you, but to disconnect you from what can't go with you. Sometimes we misinterpret the shaking as punishment, when it's actually preparation. The friendships that end. The doors that close. The jobs that fall through. The places that no longer feel like home. These are not signs that you've lost favor. They're signs that God is changing direction. See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? Isaiah 43 verse 19. You can't walk into the new thing while holding on to the old. The shaking is part of the shift. It's uncomfortable. It's painful. It's confusing. But it's also necessary. Because before God releases you into the next level, He prunes everything that would sabotage the promise. Shifts require sensitivity. Many people miss their moment because they don't recognize the signs. The wind starts to blow, and instead of leaning into it, they resist it. They try to go back to what was comfortable. They try to hold on to what God already told them to release. They try to pray for God to bless what He's already moved away from. But to walk in a shift, you must walk in obedience. You must be willing to move with God even when you don't have all the answers. Abraham didn't know where he was going when God called him, but he obeyed. Peter didn't know how he would walk on water, but he stepped out of the boat. Mary didn't know how a virgin could carry the Son of God, but she said, Let it be unto me. The shift always requires trust. You may not know the full picture, but if God is shifting the wind, it's time to adjust your sails. The wind of favor is blowing. This is not just any shift. This is a favor shift. The wind is beginning to blow in your direction, not to destroy but to elevate, not to harm but to advance, not to take away but to position you for what's next. You've been faithful in the quiet place. You've prayed when no one was watching. You've sown in tears and labored in obscurity. Now the winds are shifting. God is bringing your name into rooms you haven't entered. He's placing your face on the hearts of people who can help you. He's opening doors that were locked tight for years. And the Lord shall make you the head and not the tail. You shall be above only and not beneath. Deuteronomy 28 verse 13. This is not hype, it's heaven. This is not emotion, it's prophetic movement. This is the season where God is aligning everything in your favor. But you must be ready to move with the wind. Don't fight what God is shifting. Don't mourn over what He's removing. Don't shrink when He's trying to stretch you. The wind of favor is not random, it's intentional. It's directed by the same God who calms storms and parts seas. And when He shifts the wind, nothing can stop the sail from catching it. Prepare for acceleration. When the wind shifts, the pace changes. What took others years will happen for you in months. What seemed impossible will suddenly be accessible. What was slow will become swift. Amos 9 verse 13, yes indeed it won't be long now. God's decree. Things are going to happen so fast your head will swim. You won't have to force it. You won't have to chase it. You won't have to beg for it. The wind of God will carry you. Your only job is to be in position. In prayer. In worship. In surrender. In trust. Because when the wind shifts, God does more in one moment than we could in a lifetime. What was meant to break you will bless you. Some of the most painful moments in your life, the ones that nearly crushed you, the ones you never talk about, the ones that left you breathless with grief, are the same moments God is using as the foundation of your future blessing. Yes, it hurt. Yes, it felt unfair. Yes, it left scars. But no, it did not disqualify you. It prepared you. What the enemy sent to break you, God is about to use to bless you. The enemy's attack cannot cancel God's assignment. From the very beginning, the enemy has always tried to destroy what God intends to bless. He went after Adam and Eve in the garden. He tried to kill Moses before he could grow. He stirred up Herod to kill baby Jesus. And even today he tries to discourage, distract, delay, and destroy what God has spoken over your life. But what the enemy never learns is this. God always gets the final word. No weapon formed against you shall prosper. Isaiah 54 verse 17. Weapons may form. Attacks may come. People may rise against you. But none of it can stop the blessing God is preparing. In fact, God has a pattern of using what was meant to break you as the very tool that blesses you. Just ask Joseph. From the pit to the palace. Joseph's own brothers threw him into a pit. He was sold into slavery. He was falsely accused and sent to prison. Everything in his life seemed to move in the opposite direction of the dream God gave him. But what man meant for harm, God used to shape his character, elevate his spirit, and position him for favor. In the end, Joseph said, "You meant evil against me, but God meant it for good, in order to bring about this present result." Genesis 50 verse 20. The pit couldn't stop him. The prison couldn't break him. The lies couldn't silence him. Why? Because God was with him every step of the way. Your journey may be filled with betrayal, heartache, or closed doors. But the same God who walked with Joseph is walking with you. And like Joseph, you are on your way to the palace. Blessings are hidden in broken places. Some of your greatest blessings will be born out of your deepest wounds. The heartbreak you thought would end you will bring forth healing for others. The rejection you faced will teach you to walk in your worth. The betrayal you endured will be the stage for God's restoration. The loss you survived will make room for divine increase. God never wastes pain. He repurposes it. He redeems it. He rewrites it into the storyline of grace and victory. And we know that all things work together for good to those who love God. Romans 8 verse 28. That means, the tears you cried? They're working for your good. The storm you survived? It's making you stronger. The silence you sat in? God heard every cry. The battles you fought? They're becoming testimonies of power. Every no was setting you up for a better yes. Every closed door was God's way of protecting your destiny. And every breaking was leading you straight into a blessing. Don't curse the process, there's oil in it. You prayed for anointing and God allowed crushing. Because without the crushing of the olive there is no oil. You prayed for purpose and God allowed pressure. Because diamonds are made in darkness under weight. You prayed for elevation and God allowed pain. Because suffering births strength that fame never could. Your process hasn't been a punishment, it's been a preparation. But He knows the way that I take. When He has tested me, I shall come forth as gold. Job 23 verse 10. You are coming out of this refined. You are coming out of this wiser. You are coming out of this anointed. You are coming out of this blessed. Because everything that tried to destroy you has to bow to the God who delivers you. God will turn it around right in front of your enemies. God is not just going to bless you, He's going to do it publicly. Not to humiliate your enemies, but to show that He is faithful to those who trust Him. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. Psalm 23 verse 5. The ones who counted you out will see God count you in. The ones who walked away will watch God walk you into a new season. The ones who spoke against you will witness God speak blessings over you. Because when God shifts things in your favor, it becomes undeniable. So don't be afraid of what tried to break you. It will become the reason people glorify God on your behalf. What was meant to bury you is about to bless you. What was meant to humiliate you is about to elevate you. What was meant to destroy you is going to develop you. God is turning it around. Your name is being mentioned in rooms you've never entered. Have you ever felt forgotten? Like you've been working in silence, serving in obscurity, loving faithfully, showing up when no one else does, and yet it seems no one sees you? But here's the truth, heaven sees. And not only does God see you, He is speaking your name in rooms your feet haven't walked into yet. God is orchestrating divine connections. He is preparing hearts. He is touching minds. He is influencing conversations. And while you may not know the when or the how, you can be certain of the who. God is the one doing it. You haven't been forgotten. You've been reserved. God doesn't need you present to position you. Long before David stood before Goliath, God had already anointed him king. But David didn't walk straight to the throne. He returned to the field. He was tending sheep while others were being paraded before Samuel. His own father didn't even mention his name. He wasn't called, invited, or even considered. But guess what? God called his name anyway.
Send and bring him. For we will not sit down till he comes here. 1 Samuel 16 verse 11. God delayed the ceremony until David arrived. Because when it's your time, not even being forgotten by people can stop your favor. Even when you're not in the room, God can mention your name. He can place it on someone's heart. He can stir someone to find you. He can speak your name in boardrooms, studios, pulpits, offices, prayer closets, wherever destiny is being discussed. You don't need to network your way into your calling. You just need to stay faithful while God works behind the scenes. Heaven has an audience you don't see. You may think you're invisible. You may feel like your work is in vain. But God has angels watching. God has hearts listening. God has people observing how you handle the unseen seasons. Every seed you've planted in prayer. Every act of love that went unnoticed. Every moment you chose obedience over applause. Every tear that fell in the dark. Heaven was watching. For God is not unjust to forget your work and labor of love which you have shown toward His name. Hebrews 6 verse 10. While others may forget, God remembers. He remembers your faithfulness, your patience, your private sacrifices. And now He is preparing to reward you openly. But when you pray, go into your room, and your Father who sees in secret will reward you openly. Matthew 6 verse 6. It's not about being famous. It's about being favored. God is about to call your name in such a way that no man can take credit. Favor finds you when it's your time. You don't have to chase platforms when you're walking in purpose. Ask Esther. She didn't campaign for the crown. She simply obeyed, waited, and trusted. But when it was time, the king favored her above all others. Ask Joseph. He didn't scheme to get to Pharaoh's court. He just interpreted dreams in a prison cell. But when the moment came, his name was remembered, and he was called out of obscurity into influence. Then the chief butler spoke to Pharaoh, saying, I remember my faults this day. There was a young Hebrew man. Genesis 41 verses 9 to 12. People may forget you for a time, but God won't let them forget forever. In a moment, your name can be pulled from the shadows to the spotlight. Your voice can go from being silenced to being sought after. Your gifts can go from being hidden to being honored. Because when it's God's doing, no man can block it. God is building a testimony no one can deny. He's setting it up so clearly, so specifically, so intentionally, that no one will be able to say it was luck or chance or man's favor. They'll have to say, that had to be God. Because they'll know you didn't have the connections. You didn't have the backing. You didn't have the stage. But you had God. And God spoke your name. You're not just being elevated, you're being established. After you have suffered a little while, God himself will restore you and make you strong, firm, and steadfast. 1 Peter 5 verse 10. You've waited. You've endured. You believed. Now, God is bringing your name up at the table of breakthrough. You won't need to push. You won't need to beg. The door will open because your name is already in the room. Your time is coming. And when it comes, it will make sense. The waiting will make sense. The silence will make sense. The tears will make sense. The delay will make sense. God had to prepare the place before he sent you into it. Because you're not walking in to survive, you're walking in to thrive. And your name? It's already being whispered in the ears of kings, mentors, helpers, builders, and givers. Heaven has remembered you. And God is about to shift everything in your favor. From waiting to winning. Waiting is one of the hardest things you will ever do when you're walking with God. Not because you don't believe, but because you do. You believe he will come through. You believe his word is true. You believe the promise is real. But the silence is long. The delays are heavy. And sometimes your faith feels like it's bleeding. Still, you wait. And that, right there, is the seed of the shift. Because no waiting season is ever wasted in the kingdom of God. In fact, your waiting season is often your winning season in disguise. Heaven doesn't see waiting the way we do. We see waiting as punishment. Heaven sees it as preparation. We see it as stagnation. Heaven sees it as strengthening. We see it as delay. Heaven sees it as development. But they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. Isaiah 40 verse 31. Waiting is not passive. Waiting is not weakness. Waiting is warfare. It's trusting when nothing is changing. It's worshiping when prayers seem unanswered. It's standing still when everything in you wants to run. And every time you wait with faith, heaven calls it victory. You don't have to be holding the blessing to be winning. Sometimes, the greatest victory is not giving up in the middle of the wait. Winning looks different in the spirit. The world defines winning by visibility, likes, success, platforms, possessions. But God defines winning by faithfulness. You're winning when you still pray after being disappointed. You're winning when you still give even when you don't have much. You're winning when you forgive even when it hurts. You're winning when you keep walking even with a limp. What the world doesn't celebrate, heaven crowns. Blessed is the man who remains steadfast under trial, for when he has stood the test he will receive the crown of life. James 1 verse 12. While you think you've been losing, God has been counting every silent victory. And now, get ready, he is about to reward you openly. You didn't just survive the waiting, you grew in it. And because of that, the shift is coming. God honors those who wait well. Joseph waited. David waited. Hannah waited. Elizabeth waited. Jesus waited 30 years before performing his first miracle. Why? Because anything that carries weight takes time. You're not just waiting for a blessing, you're becoming the kind of person who can handle the blessing without losing yourself in it. God's timing is not just about releasing the promise, it's about developing the vessel. And now, because you didn't quit, didn't fold, didn't walk away, God is shifting the weight into the win. At the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. Galatians 6 verse 9. You're about to reap. You're about to see the fruit of what you've sown in tears. You're about to walk into rooms you didn't build and inherit things you didn't chase. Because the Lord is rewarding your wait with a win no man can take credit for. This is the season where it all turns. You may have felt behind, like life moved on without you. But here's the divine twist. God is not late, He's strategic. He was aligning the right people, the right places, and the right timing for your appearance. He was orchestrating a setup so divine that your delay will make the testimony even greater. What took others 10 years, God can do for you in 10 months. What took others 5 steps, God will accomplish for you in 1. The last shall be first, and the first last. Matthew 20 verse 16. You're about to leap into what others said you missed. Your name is coming up. Your moment is arriving. Your promise is ready. And God is shifting you from waiting to winning. Prepare for the win you prayed for. This next season will demand that you walk like it's already done. Speak like the door is already open. Praise like the blessing already dropped. Because it's not just coming, it's already been decided in heaven. And now it's about to manifest on earth. Behold, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs forth, do you not perceive it? Isaiah 43 verse 19. Start perceiving it. Start preparing for it. Start living like the favor has already found you, because it has. Your wait has been noticed. Your win has been scheduled. Your season has shifted. God is about to turn every not yet into now. Every almost into abundance. Every delay into destiny. You've waited faithfully. Now get ready to win boldly. Divine reversals are coming. There is something incredibly powerful about the word reversal. It means that what once was no longer is. It means that what was sent to destroy you now works in your favor. It means that God has stepped in. You see, we serve a God who not only restores what was lost, He reverses what the enemy meant for evil. You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good. Genesis 50 verse 20. There are moments in your life where God doesn't just comfort you. He rewrites the outcome. He steps into the courtroom of heaven and issues a divine verdict. Case reversed. My child will not be defined by what they went through. This chapter is for those who have cried themselves to sleep. For those who were lied on, rejected, abandoned, betrayed. For those who suffered unfair attacks. For those who've been misjudged, overlooked, and underestimated. God saw it all. And now, He's reversing it all. From ashes to beauty. God doesn't just mend broken things, He transforms them. He gives beauty for ashes, the oil of joy for mourning, and the garment of praise for the spirit of heaviness. Isaiah 61 verse 3. What does that mean? It means the very things that tried to define your downfall are about to be the very things God uses to launch your destiny. The ashes of that failed relationship? Beauty is coming. The sorrow of that financial crisis? Joy is coming. The pain of betrayal? Restoration is coming. God doesn't waste pain. He repurposes it. He uses it as fertilizer for favor. The enemy thought he buried you, but God says you were planted. And now the time of rising has come. The table is being prepared. You've heard it before. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Psalm 23 verse 5. That's not just poetic. That's prophetic. God isn't just going to reverse your situation quietly, He's going to make it visible. Why? Because when God shifts things in your favor, it becomes a testimony. Those who doubted you will witness the elevation. Those who thought you were finished will see your comeback. Those who cursed you will have to watch God crown you. And you won't have to lift a finger, God will do it all. The Lord will fight for you, you need only to be still. Exodus 14 verse 14. This reversal is not based on what you can do, it's based on what God has already decided. The pattern of God is reversal. The Bible is full of divine reversals. Joseph went from the prison to the palace overnight. Esther went from orphan girl to queen, and reversed to genocide. Mordecai was supposed to be hanged, but his enemy Haman was hanged instead. Job lost everything, but God gave him double for his trouble. Lazarus was dead for 4 days, and Jesus reversed death itself. Every time the enemy celebrated a loss, God reversed it and brought glory. That same pattern is alive in your story. What looks like a dead end is about to become a divine beginning. What looked like defeat is about to become victory. What looked like the enemy's win is about to become God's glory. God keeps receipts. He saw the heartbreak. He heard the private prayers. He counted the silent tears. He marked every moment you didn't retaliate, every time you chose faith over fear, every time you forgave, gave, prayed, praised, even when it hurt. And now heaven is moving. The receipts are being called in. And God is saying, it's time to reverse what the enemy tried to do. I will repay you for the years the locusts have eaten. Joel 2 verse 25. Yes, even the lost years. He's not just giving you back what you lost, he's making the enemy pay with interest. Your story is about to flip. The same people who saw you at your lowest are about to see you at your highest. The same rooms that rejected you are about to call you back with honor. The same hands that pushed you away are about to see God lift you up. Because divine reversal is not about revenge. It's about redemption. It's about God showing the world that He alone writes the final chapter. You are not what happened to you. You are not the rumors. You are not the divorce. You are not the betrayal. You are not the failure. You are not forgotten. You are favored, redeemed, and about to rise. Get ready to walk in the reverse. Start thanking God now. Don't wait until you see it. Praise Him while it's still shifting. Because this is the season of divine reversals. Sickness is reversing into healing. Depression is reversing into joy. Financial stress is reversing into overflow. Generational curses are reversing into generational blessings. Closed doors are reversing into supernatural access. And it's not a coincidence, it's a God-ordained reversal. You didn't miss it. You're right on time. And God is about to shift everything in your favor, starting with a reversal so big, no one will be able to deny that God did it. The battle before the breakthrough. It's one of the most frustrating and confusing places to be. Right on the edge. So close to breakthrough but surrounded by battle. So near to favor yet wrestling with fear. The prophecy has been spoken, but the pressure feels unbearable. Why does it seem like the attack intensifies right before your promise arrives? Because the enemy knows what's coming, and he's afraid of it. Do not be afraid or discouraged because of this vast army. For the battle is not yours but God's. 2 Chronicles 20 verse 15. Every attack you've faced lately isn't proof that you're losing, it's proof that you're next. You're next in line for promotion. You're next in line for healing. You're next in line for divine favor. But first, the pressure. Pressure always precedes power. Think about a seed. Before it breaks open and pushes through the soil, it feels the crushing weight of dirt, darkness, and pressure. But all of that tension is necessary for the breakthrough to occur. You are that seed. God has buried you deep in His plan. You may feel hidden, overlooked, and pressed on every side, but what's happening beneath the surface is more powerful than what you can see. There is a pressure that produces power. We are hard-pressed on every side but not crushed, perplexed but not in despair. 2 Corinthians 4 verse 8. Heaven knows what you're going through. And God is using that pressure to develop something in you that will outlast the battle. The pain is a sign you're close. Just like a woman in labor, the contractions intensify right before the delivery. The closer you are to birthing what God placed inside you, the more the enemy tries to make you doubt, give up, or retreat. Don't. This pressure is not here to destroy you, it's here to position you. When you're under attack, it's not time to back down. It's time to push in prayer, praise through tears, and stand in faith even when it feels like everything is falling apart. Because God's favor is not delayed, it's loading. And your breakthrough is coming through the battle. Every breakthrough has a breaking point. David had to face Goliath before he could wear the crown. Esther had to risk her life before she could save her people. Jesus endured the cross before he rose in glory. There's always a breaking point before the blessing. What feels like a breakdown is often God clearing the way for a breakthrough. When the enemy shall come in like a flood, the Spirit of the Lord shall lift up a standard against him. Isaiah 59 verse 19. That means when things seem to be at their worst, God is about to move at His best. The enemy fights what he fears. The enemy is not attacking your now, he's attacking your next. He sees what God is about to do in your life. He knows the anointing that's been growing in you. He senses the shift about to explode in your favor. And he's scared. That's why the battles seem relentless. That's why the warfare has been intense. That's why the temptations, discouragement, and opposition have been pressing from every side. because what you carry is dangerous to the kingdom of darkness. And once you step into what God has prepared, chains will break, doors will open, and generations will be changed. Hold your ground, favor is closer than you think. Now is not the time to quit. Don't walk away from your breakthrough because of the intensity of the current moment. This is not punishment. This is preparation. God has seen every moment of obedience. Every time you didn't retaliate. Every prayer you whispered when no one else saw. Every sacrifice you made in secret. And heaven has not forgotten. Let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. Galatians 6 verse 9. The harvest is coming. The shift is coming. And when it does, you'll look back on this battle and thank God that you held on. Because the favor that's about to hit your life will make the pain look like a setup. You're not being crushed, you're being crowned. And what's coming next will be worth every tear, every test, and every trial. Get ready. The pressure is almost over. The breakthrough is about to break wide open. When the wait feels endless, but God is still working, there's a kind of pain that doesn't scream, it just lingers. It's the ache of waiting. When you've done everything right. When your heart has stayed faithful. When your hope is still holding on, but heaven feels quiet. You pray and the answer is silence. You fast, and the breakthrough doesn't show up. You obey, and nothing changes. It feels like life is moving for everyone else except you. Like everyone else is being celebrated while you're stuck in the shadows. Like the door you've been knocking on won't open, no matter how hard you try. But here's the truth. Just because it's not happening on your timeline doesn't mean it's not happening. God's silence is not his absence. And his delay is never his denial. Hidden doesn't mean forgotten. When God is silent, he's not ignoring you, he's preparing you. You may feel hidden, but you are hidden on purpose. Joseph was hidden in a prison before he stepped into the palace. David was hidden in the fields before he sat on the throne. Jesus was hidden in the tomb before he rose in glory. God hides those he's about to elevate. He has made everything beautiful in its time. Ecclesiastes 3 verse 11. Not your time. Not their time. His time. Because when God does it in his time, it lasts. It doesn't break under pressure. It doesn't collapse when others try to tear it down. It stands strong because it was built on a divine foundation. So if you feel overlooked, unseen, or stuck in a season of delay, don't give up. God hasn't abandoned you. He's working behind the curtain. And soon the curtain is about to rise. The weight is building weight. Sometimes God makes you wait so that when he blesses you, you'll know how to carry it. The weight is not wasted. It's building character, faith, endurance, discernment, gratitude. The weight is molding you into the person who can sustain the weight of the promise. You don't want to arrive too soon. You don't want the door to open before you're ready to walk through it. And you don't want the favor to fall into hands that haven't been shaped by fire. Because what God is about to release in your life is heavy. And the weight? It's making you strong enough to hold it. God works in the dark. Think about a seed planted in soil. You don't see its growth. You don't hear its breakthrough. But underground, it's expanding. Roots are forming. Strength is developing. Foundations are being set. The same is true for you. While you wait, God is aligning divine connections, moving people into position, preparing opportunities you don't even know about, softening hearts in rooms you haven't entered yet. Just because it's not visible doesn't mean it's not real. God often does his deepest work in the dark. The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still. Exodus 14 verse 14. Stillness doesn't mean weakness. It means trust. And God moves powerfully where there's trust. What you wait for, you'll worship for. When you've waited long. When you've prayed and cried and held on longer than you thought possible. When the breakthrough finally comes, you won't take it for granted. You'll worship like never before. You'll love deeper. You'll walk in your purpose with passion and perspective. Because the wait taught you how to treasure the blessing. And that's why God didn't give it to you the moment you asked. He knew the value would grow in the valley. He knew the delay would produce depth. And when the shift comes, and it will, you'll realize God was working all along. So keep waiting. Not passively, but expectantly. Because heaven's timeline is about to intersect with your story. And when God moves, it won't be small. It will be sudden, stunning, and saturated with His glory. You've waited long enough. Now watch what God will do. Divine reversals. When God turns it all around in one moment. There are moments in life when everything changes in a flash. You're not expecting it. You're not prepared for it. You're not even sure you're ready for it. And suddenly, God steps in. The same God who parts seas, calms storms, and raises the dead. The same God who speaks to mountains and they move. The same God who breathes and creation responds. That God still works miracles. And He's about to work one for you. When the Lord restored the fortunes of Zion, we were like those who dreamed. Psalm 126 verse 1. There is a divine shift coming that will feel like a dream, because God specializes in sudden turnarounds. The power of one divine moment. All it takes is one moment with God to change everything. One phone call. One open door. One divine connection. One reversal of a diagnosis. One decision that shifts generations. One breakthrough that erases years of struggle. It only takes one act of heaven to overthrow years of pain. That's the power of a divine reversal. Joseph went from prisoner to prince overnight. Esther went from orphan to queen in a moment of favor. The woman with the issue of blood was healed after 12 long years, by just one touch. Lazarus was dead for 4 days, yet Jesus spoke a word and everything changed. God is not limited by time. He's not intimidated by statistics. He's not bound by human logic. What took years to break can be reversed in a second by the hand of God. God remembers what others forgot. Sometimes it feels like everyone else has moved on. They forgot your name. They dismissed your potential. They walked away from your story. But God never forgot. In the book of Esther, Mordecai saved the king's life, but years passed without recognition. Then in one night the king couldn't sleep. He opened the royal records, and Mordecai's name was remembered. That one night changed everything. Let this soak into your spirit. When people forget you, God remembers you. When people overlook you, heaven highlights you. When people reject you, God selects you. He's about to shift attention in your favor. He's about to reverse the order of the room. He's about to elevate you in front of those who never saw your worth. What the enemy meant for evil. You may have gone through betrayal, heartbreak, disappointment, loss, or failure. But none of it will be wasted. God doesn't just restore what was stolen. He reverses the enemy's plan and uses it to bless you. Joseph's brothers tried to destroy him, but God used it to position him for greatness. Haman built gallows for Mordecai, but God turned it, and Haman hung on his own trap. The cross was meant to shame Jesus, but it became the platform of salvation for all humanity. You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good. Genesis 50 verse 20. Divine reversals are God's answer to demonic attacks. What was sent to crush you will become the very thing that crowns you. Suddenly things will shift. There's a word often used in Scripture when God is about to act. Suddenly. Suddenly there came a sound from heaven. Acts 2 verse 2. Suddenly a great earthquake. Acts 16 verse 26. Suddenly Jesus met them. Matthew 28 verse 9. Suddenly chains broke. Suddenly prison doors opened. Suddenly the impossible became possible. Your suddenly is coming. You won't see it coming. You may even doubt it's near. But when it happens, it will silence every voice of fear, confusion, and delay. Your season of divine reversal is here. You've cried enough tears. You've endured enough trials. You've waited long enough. God is about to flip the script, shift the scene, redeem the years, reward the faithfulness, rewrite the ending. Because He's not done with you. He's only just getting started. And the same God who reversed death into resurrection is about to reverse everything that has tried to hold you back. Get ready. Not just for restoration, but for reversal. God's hand is still on your life, even in the storm. There are moments in life when the storm is so loud, you can barely hear your own thoughts, let alone the whisper of God. Thunder crashes, lightning strikes, and all you can do is hold on and hope you survive what's happening around you. And yet, even in those moments, God's hand is still on your life. You may not feel him. You may not see him. You may not understand what he's doing, but he's there, right in the middle of it. The storm doesn't mean abandonment. We often believe the lie that if life gets hard, God must have left us. But storms don't mean absence. In fact, the Bible is full of people who faced great storms, with God right beside them. The disciples were in a boat with Jesus when the storm came, Mark 4 verses 35 to 41. Paul was on a divine mission when he was shipwrecked, Acts 27. Jonah ran from God and ended up in a storm that God still used to bring him back. The presence of a storm is not the absence of God. It's often proof that he's about to reveal himself in a greater way. He was always in the boat. Let's revisit the story of Jesus and the disciples on the Sea of Galilee. They were following his instructions. They got in the boat because he told them to, and then the storm came. Waves crashed. Wind howled. The boat began to fill with water. And Jesus? Because what the enemy meant to bury you, God will use to bless you. He was sleeping. It looked like he didn't care. It felt like he had forgotten them. They even cried out, "Teacher, don't you care if we drown?" Sound familiar? We've all had those moments. God, are you even paying attention? Don't you see what I'm going through? But then, Jesus stood up. He spoke 3 words that silenced the sea. Peace, be still. Suddenly the storm was over. The fear disappeared. The disciples were in awe, not of the storm, but of the one who controlled it. That's the God who is with you. That's the God who is about to shift everything in your favor. Even when you can't feel him, he's working. There's something incredibly powerful about trusting God when you can't trace him. Sound familiar? We've all had those moments. God, are you even paying attention? Don't you see what I'm going through? But then, Jesus stood up. He spoke 3 words that silenced the sea. Peace, be still. Suddenly the storm was over. The fear disappeared. The disciples were in awe, not of the storm, but of the one who controlled it. That's the God who is with you. That's the God who is about to shift everything in your favor. Even when you can't feel him, he's working. There's something incredibly powerful about trusting God when you can't trace him. Faith isn't always about feeling. It's about believing that God is faithful even when the path makes no sense. We walk by faith, not by sight. 2 Corinthians 5 verse 7. You may feel like your prayers are bouncing off the ceiling. You may feel stuck, lost, or forgotten. But God sees every detail. He's working in the background. He's orchestrating things in ways you couldn't imagine. He's protecting you from things you don't even know about. If only you could see the full picture. You'd realize how much his hand has held you together all along. Storms don't define you, they refine you. Storms don't come to destroy your destiny. They come to reveal what's inside you. When gold is refined, it's placed in fire, not to burn it, but to remove the impurities. Likewise, the storms in your life are not punishments, they're preparation. They teach you to trust. They show you who God really is. They build endurance. They prepare you for the platform God is setting up. Just because you're in a storm doesn't mean you're failing. It means you're being formed. The storm is not the end of the story. There's something incredibly important to remember. You don't die in the storm. The storm is temporary. The lesson is eternal. And the victory is certain. When you pass through the waters, I will be with you. And when you pass through the rivers, they will not sweep over you. Isaiah 43 verse 2. God never promised a life without storms. But he did promise to carry you through them. And when you come out, because you will come out, you'll come out stronger, wiser, more grounded in your faith, more aware of his goodness, more ready to walk into everything he promised you. God's hand has been guiding you all along. Think about it. How did you survive what others didn't? How did you keep going when it made no sense? How did you keep believing when everything told you to give up? It wasn't luck. It wasn't coincidence. It was the hand of God, guiding you, holding you, carrying you through every wave and every tear. And he's still doing it, even now, even in this season, even when it's quiet, even when it's hard. His hand is on your life, and he's not letting go. The favor of God will rewrite your entire story. There are certain moments in life where God's favor doesn't just add a blessing to your situation. It completely rewrites your entire story. It takes what was broken, lost, and forgotten, and turns it into a testimony so beautiful that even your enemies will have to say, "That had to be God." You are not too far gone. Your past does not disqualify you. Your mistakes don't cancel your destiny. When God's favor finds you, everything changes. God doesn't consult your past to approve your future. Man may judge you by your history, but God looks at your heart. He sees your potential. He sees your purpose. "For I know the plans I have for you," declares the Lord, "plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you a future and a hope." Jeremiah 29 verse 11. When God steps into your story, He doesn't come to shame you for what went wrong. He comes to redeem it. He knows about the things that hurt you, the choices you regret, and the doors that closed on you. And still He says, "I'm not done with you yet." God is not looking for perfection. He's looking for surrender. He's looking for a heart that says, "Lord, if you'll still have me, I'm yours." And once He hears that, He releases favor that turns ashes into beauty. The favor of God breaks protocol. Favor isn't fair. It doesn't follow logic. It doesn't require approval from people who doubted you. When God decides to favor you, He will break rules, bypass systems, and open doors that no man can shut. Ask Joseph, who went from prisoner to prime minister in a single day. Ask Esther, a Jewish orphan girl who became queen and saved a nation. Ask David, the forgotten shepherd boy who became king after being overlooked by his own family. Favor will take you from the back of the line and place you at the front. It will lift your name into places where your feet haven't even stepped yet. You may feel forgotten now, but you're only one divine moment away from everything shifting in your favor. God's favor heals what life tried to destroy. Some stories are so painful we wonder if anything good can come from them. But when God rewrites a story, He doesn't ignore the pain. He heals it. He turns shame into testimony. He turns sorrow into songs of joy. He turns rejection into redirection. You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good to accomplish what is now being done. Genesis 50 verse 20. God is the only author who can take your broken chapters and write an ending so beautiful, it brings tears to your eyes. Not because you're sad, but because you finally understand. None of it was wasted. Not the heartbreak. Not the betrayal. Not the silence. Not the nights you cried yourself to sleep. God saw it all. And now He's turning the page. The next chapter will be the best one yet. If you're still breathing, God's not finished writing your story. There are blessings you haven't seen yet. There are rooms you haven't walked into yet. There are people you haven't met yet who will be part of your restoration. You've been through the wilderness, but Canaan is coming. You've been tested, but now promotion is on the way. Get ready, because God is about to surprise you. And when He does, it will be better than anything you could have imagined. This is your favor season. Don't let your current situation convince you that this is where it ends. You are standing on the edge of a divine shift. God's favor is going to clear debts, heal relationships, unlock opportunities, bring restoration, fulfill dreams, silence every lie spoken against you. This is your Esther moment, your Joseph promotion, your David anointing. Everything is changing, not because of who you are, but because of who your God is. Let God hold the pen. Your story is still being written, and the pen is in the hand of the master author. So stop trying to rewrite the past. Stop trying to figure out the next chapter. Just trust. Just trust. God doesn't write tragedies, He writes triumphs. And He's turning your pain into power, your trial into triumph, your test into a testimony. Let Him finish what He started. Because when this next chapter unfolds, you'll look back and say, "Only God could have done this." God is about to shift everything in your favor. There comes a moment in every believer's life when the long nights, silent seasons, unanswered prayers, and painful waiting all begin to make sense. Not because the pain disappears, but because God begins to move. This write-up has been a prophetic declaration over your life, reminding you that you are not forgotten. You are not forsaken. You are not stuck. You are being set up for something beyond what you've imagined. Every chapter has whispered the same divine truth. God is about to shift everything in your favor. You may have walked through loss, disappointment, betrayal, and delay. But through it all, God has been watching. Not a single tear was wasted. Not a single battle went unnoticed. The shift you've been waiting for is not just coming, it's already in motion. From hidden seasons of preparation to divine moments of sudden elevation, this write-up has shown how God moves in the quiet and in the chaos. Just like Joseph, David, Esther, Ruth, and countless others, you are in the middle of a divine turnaround. God is not limited by time, circumstance, or what others said about you. He is the master author, and the chapters ahead are filled with restoration, recompense, healing, and hope. He is shifting your pain into purpose, your trial into testimony, your valley into victory, your waiting into winning. The favor of God is about to rewrite your story. And when it happens, it will be undeniable, unstoppable, and unforgettable. You won't have to force it. You won't have to chase it. The blessing will find you. So take heart. Don't give up. Your weeping may have endured for the night, but joy is not just coming, it's here. You are standing on the edge of a breakthrough that will make up for every breakdown. You are not empty, you're expecting. You are not behind, you're being positioned. You are not overlooked, you're about to be crowned. God is turning the page. He's lifting your head. He's preparing the table. And what's coming next will be greater than what you lost. This is your shift season. This is your favor season. This is your testimony season. Folded hands, medium skin tone, closing prayer. A divine shift is coming. Heavenly Father, I come before you with a heart full of gratitude and expectation. Thank you for being the God who never forgets, the one who sees every tear, hears every cry, and holds every broken piece of my life in your hands. Lord, I sense you moving. I feel the winds of change beginning to blow. I know deep in my soul that you are about to shift everything in my favor. I surrender every fear, every failure, every delay, and every disappointment at your feet. I let go of the weight I was never meant to carry. I release the need to understand, and I choose instead to trust. Because even when I can't trace your hand, I know I can trust your heart. God, I ask you to move in ways I've never seen before. Open the doors that no man can shut. Breathe new life into dry places. Restore what was lost. Heal what was broken. Align what was out of place. Turn every setback into a setup. Let every no be replaced with a better yes. Redeem the time. Redeem the years. Redeem the story. Let favor flood every area of my life. My home, my finances, my health, my calling, and my relationships. Father, may this be the season where everything changes. Where what held me back breaks off. Where what was delayed is released. Where what was hard becomes easy. Where what was impossible becomes reality, not by my strength but by your Spirit. Surprise me with your goodness. Surround me with your glory. Let every blessing that has my name on it begin to chase me down. Let testimonies flow from my life like a river. Give me strength to stand, faith to believe, and joy to endure until the shift fully manifests. And when it does, when your favor turns everything around, I will give you all the glory. Because it was never about me. It was always about you. Thank you, Father. Thank you for the shift. Thank you for the favor. Thank you for the future. In Jesus' mighty name. Amen.